Hey everybody, welcome back to Free Advice Friday. I'm Michelle, and of course I'm here with Dr. Murphy again, and we are going to be answering all of your burning questions. We've had several questions submitted to us via Facebook message and posts, and today I will be reading those to Dr. Murphy, again, getting his response. Keep doing it, we're having fun, we love it. So,
one of us does.
Well, a few of us do. All right, so the first question I want to ask you, Dr. Murphy, is do you see children here for urgent care?
You know, we do see children, but most children have pediatricians. The advice I'd give is if your child's sick or having a problem with their formula, call your pediatrician. I mean, they usually have an answering service, a nurse practitioner, somebody that can give you some advice. However, for some reason, you can't get in to see them. We do see children, and I pretty much have a cutoff at about 2 to 3 years of age. I really don't want to see infants. Children, I don't have an issue with seeing children for colds, sore throats, rashes, kind of run of the routine mill stuff. We do not have their shot records. Parents don't have their shot records, and so that can always be a difficult problem. But I would like for anybody to please see their pediatrician, call their pediatrician first.
Good deal. All right, so the next question, which I really think you'll love, is what is your favorite Christmas tradition?
When it's over.
So you're not a Christmas fan?
Well, I used to not be much of a Christmas person because it's such a pain. People get so commercialized with this Christmas stuff, and I like for everybody to stop buying presents, enjoy each other's company, and sharing the love and joy of the Christmas season. We don't have to freak out about buying presents for everybody, but if I have a new Christmas tradition is putting up Christmas lights, so my grandkids go, "Ooh, Papa, look at the lights, pretty lights." So that's about my one thing I enjoy now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you didn't mention that, I'm glad you did, because he may act pretty hard and tough around here, guys, but he's just a big old softy on the inside.
Next question.
Love and joy.
Next question.
All right, the next question is, what would you give as advice to people who are diabetic but also want to go on a diet?
Diabetics, there's two types. There's type 1, which are what we call insulin dependent, which means they have to have insulin, otherwise they will not do well and probably die. The other type is type 2 diabetics, which they need insulin to control their blood sugars, but it's not an absolute necessity. So when you're looking at a diet from a diabetic standpoint, it's a lot easier for me to work with a type 2 diabetic, because when I'm cutting the calories and readjusting their diet, they will have to readjust their insulin as well, but it's a lot easier because I have a lot of wiggle room. Type 1 diabetics is usually on the tough side, but on the other side of the equation, type 1 diabetics are typically not overweight. Type 2 diabetics are, because their weight caused the diabetes. And if you look at medical studies, they say, and I believe it to be true, 80% of all type 2 diabetics, if they lose and maintain a normal body weight, will no longer need their medications for diabetes. So there is a cure for diabetes. It's called your diet.
Okay, the next question. When your patients or people who are on a diet go to Starbucks or some other coffee shop, what's a good drink for them to order besides just regular black coffee?
Well, of course, regular black coffee doesn't have any calories, so we're okay with that. You have to use powdered creamers. If you're using liquid creamers, I've seen these people, they just sit there in the jug, glug, 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 and so you're having some coffee with your creamer is what it boils down to. Sugar is an absolute no-no. No frappes, no cappuccinos. The calories are just unbelievable. And typically, one of those frappuccinos, cappuccinos, I don't even know what the difference is. I don't care, but they sound like they're fattening. And I think if you look at the calories, you're looking at about 500 to 600. So if you drink one a day, that's 500 calories a day. You're gaining 5 pounds a month, 60 pounds a year. Stop it.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. And some of those drinks, it could blow your calories for an entire day.
Oh, sure. And 2 cappuccinos is your caloric limit for the day if you're hitting 1,000 calories. I mean, it's over. So.
And the unicorn, this, that, and the other, whatever they call it, some of those get up to almost 1,000 calories for a drink.
Yeah, they can just get ridiculous.
Yeah. So lattes aren't bad, just a thought.
Skinny lattes, I think are okay.
Skinny lattes, but probably not anything else. I would think it's going to have you about 120 calories if you get like a medium-sized drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna be okay with that.
And that shouldn't be terrible for you if you just really want something, of course, sugar-free sweetener. Again, but There are a few options, but very few, which they're still good. All right, the next question we have is, of course you were an ER doctor before, what's your craziest story from the ER?
Oh gosh.
Or a crazy story, maybe we'll get some other crazy stories.
Well, it was actually around Christmas time, and it was in North Kansas City, and this has been probably 35, 40 years ago. I had this woman come in the emergency room who swore up and down she was infested with parasites. And she was seeing them in front of her eyes, and she was sitting here picking at these invisible bugs that were floating all around in front of her. Mm-hmm. And I tried to calm her down, and I'm like, "Ma'am, what are you seeing?" She goes, "Can't you see them? There's these invisible bugs that are flying all over the place." And I asked her, I said, "Is this about 3 foot in front of your face?" "Yes, that's why I'm reaching out to grab them." I said, "Ma'am, that is actually the red blood cells that you're seeing floating in front of your retinas." And she swore up and down she's infested, and I finally had to calm her down and eventually convinced her everybody sees these. If you look out in the sun on a blue sunlight day, look up at the sky, try to focus 3 feet in front of you, and those little bugs that you see floating around are actually the red blood cells going across your retinas.
Wow. I bet she was pretty freaked out though for a minute.
I don't know how the story ended out, but yeah, we settled her down, told her she's not infested with parasites. So she did okay.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I bet that was crazy. All right, the next question is about wart removal, skin tags. You do those here, correct?
Yes.
And what's kind of the process, or what should people know if they're thinking about coming in?
A lot of them depends on how big they are. If they're relatively small, especially in children, we'll do it real gently by putting topical acids on them. And there's all kinds of different acid preps out there. I particularly use my own one. I have custom made at Oswego Pharmacy out in Oswego, Kansas. Stephen Charles out there, he mixed it up for me. He's been doing it for 20 years now. But it's kind of my own brand or special brew of acid that seems to work pretty well. And when you apply it, it burns the wart down about 1 to 2 millimeters. It's pretty gentle, and it's really tolerated well in children, especially if they're like little seed warts, very small, they'll do real well. Anything the size of a pencil eraser or larger, those have to be what's called cauterized. We'll have to burn those out and literally dig them out by the roots. Of course, there's going to be some anesthesia there, and we try to make it as pain-free as possible. Skin tags, typically, I just put a little bit of acid on it, and it kills the skin tag, and it falls right off in the shower. So that's a good one to get rid of.
Yeah. You know, I had a couple of warts on my hand that you removed, and I had tried, I went to Walmart and bought that wart freezer and a couple of other things.
Nothing over the counter works.
Yeah, and it didn't, and in fact, it just burnt them down, and it seemed like it made them worse. And then of course I came to you, and I'll tell you what, they didn't come back. So
yeah, we burned them pretty good.
You burned them good, so they're gone. So I would recommend it personally if you're thinking about getting warts removed. So that's cool. I didn't realize you had your own brew.
Yep. My own medication made by Stephen Charles.
Yeah, little Oswego plug there too. All right, so the next question and the last question: when did you decide to become a doctor?
I was probably 14 years old. I was growing up on a farm, and we had cattle, and I was the resident veterinarian. Used to do all the difficult deliveries with cattle, and did all the working of the cattle, the dehorning, the cutting the abscesses, and everything they do on a farm. And I don't know, it just came natural to me, and applied to med school when I was 15, got accepted when I was 16. So I went to med school when I was 16 years old. So, and people have been calling me doc since I was 16 years old, and I really don't know of any other name, so I do real well with that.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you also go by freaking genius.
That's one of my idiot kids made up for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You got big old brains.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done yet?
Yes, that is all the questions.
Praise the baby Jesus. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas, and thanks again for submitting your questions, and we'll keep on bringing this back as long as you keep on submitting. So you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.